Welcome back. This is Fantastic Pains and How We Hide Them. I'm not Chris,
And I'm not Karina.
but we're here together.
And waiting for people to show up.
Indeed. As you can see, we have this lovely third mic. Well, as some of you can see. Those of you listening, maybe not.
Yeah, just imagine. Here's what it sounds
There's
like.
a mic.
That's the empty
There
mic.
you go.
Now you're part of the experience.
ASMR stroking
No,
the mic.
no. Stop.
I'm just going to make it really hard to edit.
It's so cringy.
Should we start with the weekly check-in?
Yes.
All right. You go first.
Oh, okay. You didn't sing the song.
It's time for the weekly recap.
Check in. Check out.
Rick Rack.
So I had a week. What I have to do is I have to imagine last week first.
I know. And then
Like,
what
what did we
was
go over?
that? And then what was this?
This week was...
That's what I'm trying to do. That's why I made you go first.
I have to go first because reasons. We edited. I edited.
Yes.
Oh, we added in. We have a Discord now,
Yeah.
and we're actually on it right now. We're doing a podcast stage.
Yep.
Or a stage for the podcast. So, if next time you hear us and you want to join us on a Saturday around 11 in Mountain Time,
Yeah. Go find our Facebook page.
Yes.
Fantastic Pains and where to hide
we'll
them.
pin the Discord.
How we hide them, and then we'll put that up there for you.
Yeah, and then you can join and you can just listen to it raw, or
you can
join.
participate.
Yeah, we have it set up, and it should be a good time.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I worked on the podcast a lot. I wanted
And
to do
what
stuff.
else? Twitter?
Yeah, we have a Twitter.
Was there one more?
No, I don't
think that was
so.
it.
It was those two, but that was a lot for a day.
Yeah.
I was burned out after that.
Yeah.
And it was a nice week up until the last couple of days.
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing was horrible.
Yeah, it was very weird. We had
extra spoons week.
extra strength spoons is what we
Yeah.
had.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It was so weird. It was like,
We were both super productive.
yeah, it was like we finally caught up from spoon debt.
Yeah.
And then we were like, what is all this energy that I have that's
That
not
twin
stolen from myself?
That day you were like, I'm like, come over. I got stuff to talk about. I have ideas. And you're like, I'll come over after I clean my entire house.
And I did.
She didn't come over though.
No, I
She
didn't.
spent the whole day cleaning her house.
Yep.
She deserves a clean house in her body.
Exactly.
And she got what she wanted.
Yeah. Well, and then I've had 2 workouts this week.
Yeah.
So I'm back at the gym with my trainer, which is great, but also hard. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I'm tired and I'm sore. I also had massage. So it went, I think it was like Wednesday it was workout, massage, and then workout the next day.
Yeah.
So I have bruises. Not that you needed to know this, but I have bruises like this big on my ass cheek right now from massage.
Oh man.
Yeah. It was a productive day, but holy crap, that hurt.
We also did nails.
Yeah.
Clicky.
They make great noises. I really like them. They're dip. We did them ourselves.
I like it because it keeps my nails from breaking.
Yes.
As long as I can keep the polish or the whatever, the dip on.
Yeah.
I like them.
The unfortunate part is anytime it chips, I pull all of them off.
Well, yeah, you can't have like an uneven amount.
Yeah.
If you're gonna have a broken
Like,
one.
I busted one. Am I going to fix it? No. Am I going to pull them all off and start from scratch?
Yes. Absolutely.
But I also do this thing where I run out of spoons like partway through.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I did one hand. And then I have one naked hand for like 4 or 5 days.
That happened to Jen. She did the one
Really?
hand, went to work, came back, was like, everyone loved it. I'm doing it on the other hand in the morning. So this morning she sat down and she did her other hand.
Good. Yeah, dip is fun.
That was it. We did that stuff.
And then I saw my PCP finally.
Oh yeah.
And that was interesting. He's still saying like abdominal adhesions, they're not recommending surgery because it could cause more scar tissue. And I'm like, yeah.
Could.
Okay.
Could
Fine.
also work.
If it gets super bad, then I'm going to push for it and be like, could we please just try
When it's
something?
affecting your quality
Let's
of
try
life, I
something.
think they'll be more apt. So.
Yeah. Especially like my guts. Like all that is just tangled up. It's horrible. Ugh. And then, it was really interesting because I told him about the new med that they gave me for my stomach, which is dicyclamine.
Mhm.
I actually remember the name this week. And I was like, can we stay on that? I really like that. And he was like, do you want more of that? And I was like, yeah, I'll take more of that.
It works. I've been on it before and I liked it.
Yeah, that's
I
good
don't
stuff.
remember why we stopped. I think it had something to do with conflicting with a different med that we tried, but we
Yeah.
don't have it anymore and it just never came back.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's effective though. At least for now.
Yeah.
Hopefully. That part will help. And then he said it was a really interesting interaction.
Yeah.
Because I was telling him about the podcast and he was like, "Oh, so what's it about?" And I was like, "Well, it started out as being like our platform to talk about our experience with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. But we've kind of expanded it into all of these different areas." And he was like, "Well, yeah, that's the thing, is that like you appear to be a perfectly healthy, well put together person, but you deal with all of these challenges that are totally invisible." So it was just so weird to have it echoed back to me from my doctor.
That's why I like David, because David does the same thing. He's like,
Yeah.
wow, you're really putting up with a lot. Like, you get it. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like that TikTok clip I put out, the one about the doctors that don't believe me until I'm like giggling it because they're like,
and then they're like, "Oh no,
they're biopsying my kidney," and I'm like,
well,
that's always fun.
yeah. Like, we should get a video of you getting your back cracked at some point, because that's a good one. It's when you giggle. You're like, "Oh, that hurts so bad."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's especially when the ribs slide back in.
It's not just a crunch, it's like a thunk.
Yeah.
It echoes through your whole chest.
Yeah. Well, yesterday or the day before, I had Jen kick my back in here.
Mm-hmm.
She fixed one of the ribs that was on the left side where all that tightening is.
Yeah.
Something had been pulled too far, and she was able to get it back, so I could breathe again.
Which is great, because
I can take
oxygen
the
is
deep breaths.
important.
Yes. Well, I've heard that, but I don't know if I buy it.
Working with my trainer, though, we also kind of have puzzled out, and this is what's interesting to me, is that my personal trainer and my massage therapist have been able to, and we've worked together for a couple years, so we have that like strong base, but not even a PT has ever noticed that part of our problem is that like we drop our pelvis backwards.
I was walking around today after you mentioned it yesterday, and I was like, oh my God, she's right.
Right? So we drop our pelvis backwards, and then our legs like rotate.
Yeah.
And then we wind up doing this like catwalk thing. But it also is really bad for your hips, because that's not where they're supposed to be.
Tracks.
Yeah, it was really interesting. So we talked a lot about, and it's not just posture, because everyone's like, "Oh, it's just posture, whatever."
Yeah, but it's not.
But it's not. It's you have to like
your core.
Train the correct muscles to do the correct thing.
Yeah.
To hold everything together. Because I've had this really weird, I don't know, I think it's like a muscle band in my ribs. And I was sitting stupid, so I had like my feet above my head or whatever. And it just like slid across my rib cage and then back.
Oof.
And I was like, what was that? Pretty sure that's not supposed to happen.
No, that's not normal.
You know, I was like, okay, sure.
It's someone else. Oh, Logan was complimenting us.
Oh yeah,
Logan,
that was really cool.
My buddy from Castlewall days, who we the real genesis of the podcast was that I was getting ready to do a podcast with him.
Yeah.
Which is where the idea came from, and where I originally got that microphone, because we were going to use that and his other one. Yeah. Because I needed an XLR mic, and something happened. Like we were doing meetings. We were like, oh, this would be good. We could do this and this and this, and then something happened. He was like, I can't. I'm sorry, we have to put it on hiatus. Yeah. And then he found us, I think through Facebook, because I posted one thing about it one time. I updated my profile pic and everyone saw it. I should never do that. I don't use social media for a reason.
He's alive.
Yeah. And he commented on it. He said that our audio is minty, which makes me super happy, because that's what I've spent the most time on, is getting our audio nice.
Yep. Now it's video.
We're
messing with our video stuff.
Because of that, I was obsessed with getting the video nice.
You're like, we got a compliment on the audio, but not the visual.
Right. Like, I can do better. So hopefully this looks better than other podcasts. It should be higher resolution.
Yeah.
You should see us in 3D. It's not 3D. Or is it? Could be. I'm 3-dimensional. Think about it. It's not 2D. It's a screen, stupid.
Oh my God.
They bought that? Anyway.
Just so dumb. So. Who are you?
I am me. Oh, we could talk about what we're going to do today.
Yeah.
What we got going on while we wait for our third mystery person.
Yes. So we had kind of all of these things just kind of fell together.
Yeah.
As the week went on. So we're making like really big strides in a very short amount of time. So we're hoping it will work okay. But today we get to sit down with essentially your brother-in-law.
Basically, that's how I look at him.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd appreciate that because it puts pressure on the relationship.
Right. But
yeah,
essentially.
They've been together for a year and a half, and
right.
I love him, so.
He's a good dude. And he is a CNA.
Yep.
And they are working on starting, you know more about this part.
Oh, yeah. They're starting like a home care business. So the idea is right now they're taking care of, I think, Jen's grandfather, Steph's grandfather. And they have someone else, and they're just starting. So they're building it up. Yeah. They've been working on their logo, and
that's awesome.
It's cool. We'll plug it all when they get here.
Home health care, which is nice.
So we moved from working in a hospital to that just recently.
Was he hospice before?
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. Because when COVID happened, he got sent to the COVID floor a couple times. He was very angry about that. And I don't blame him.
Yeah.
I'd be pissed too.
Yeah. As teachers, we were pissed enough for ourselves, but holy moly, the whole medical world was just on fire.
Yeah. And the other thing we're doing is on the second half, hopefully, we're going to have people come in and ask him questions through Discord.
Yep.
And we'll ask them questions, hopefully, and it'll be interesting to see what we can get more perspectives on it.
To preface all of that, I do want to say that nothing we say here is meant to be taken as medical advice.
Yeah.
So please don't, expect him to be, making you a treatment plan through this. We're really more interested in seeing kind of the other side of the coin, because we experience the medical system from the perspective of someone who is chronically ill, invisible illness. So we really want to kind of dive in and see what it's like through the eyes of someone working in the medical field.
Yep.
And how we kind of come off to them, whether or not they've experienced zebras in their work before, and just kind of chit chat and see where it takes us.
Yeah,
I've got some good questions. So
I am going to play it loosey-goosey.
There you go.
So that means I'm going to sit here in the corner very quietly while you ask all the questions, and I'll just be like, yep, what she said. That's what I want to know. She's speaking for me.
It's so frustrating when we go back and edit, because I'm like, God dang it, I talk so much.
But I don't want to interrupt. And
interrupt me.
You're in the middle of saying what I would say anyways, every time. It's like, what am I going to add to the conversation? I would just, what Karina was saying, but I'm going to say it like a man. I'm going to mansplain it for everybody.
Oh my God, I had the best thing happen this week. I was walking through Walmart, and this woman who's leaning on the jewelry stuff, doing her thing, and just not at all sneakily, as soon as I walk by, she bends over at the waist, turns her whole head to look at my ass. And then she gets caught and is like, oh no. And I was just like, that was not stealthy at all.
It was an attempt.
I don't know.
Was made.
It was really funny. I was like, all right, cool. Whatever.
You still got it.
I put on my hot girl costume yesterday.
Yeah, I had to help you with the boots.
My disguise.
Boots were almost all wrong. It was almost a bad moment. Then I made it a good moment.
It was a good moment. Good boots.
The black was just too contrasty.
Yeah. Well, and I didn't like the shape of them so much. I like my booties, like the boot type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The red ones were the way to go.
Yeah. So my husband and I, he made a reservation for the melting pot for us for our anniversary. And so we went and did that yesterday. And I'm going to be full for the next week and a half.
Yeah.
I left and I was like, I'm pretty sure my stomach is in my chest cavity now.
I don't want a Band-Aid anymore. Screw this Band-Aid. Look at how bad it is, though.
Oh my God.
I wrecked it.
You're just it's like one of those surgical punches. And then they just never took out the piece of skin.
Yeah, I was running for the first time in years through the house.
Extra strength spoons.
I was like, yeah, let's get it. Well, I took my Concerta, and I was like, yeah, it's going to be a good day. And I chased my son around and ran up the stairs and went to grab. I have a mobility chair, and it stabilizes me at the top. I'm so used to grabbing it. So I went to reach and grab it, and I missed, and I hit the sharp metal edge and just cut part of my finger off, basically. Just the tip.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Because we can't do anything without injury. Why do?
Because it looked dirty. I can cut all of this. It doesn't matter what I do. And I'm not putting this into an in-between or a TikTok or a flu-flop.
You don't know that.
I do know that.
You don't know that.
I know it.
Who is Brain Frog?
Who is Brain Frog?
And why can't I think about him?
I will find you, Brain Frog.
And I will clear my father's name.
We're dumb.
Death and TikTok. Sorry, guys.
That's us.
This is where we're at. But yeah, it was a very weird week because we were both like wired. And we got a lot done.
Mm-hmm.
And I just kept waiting for the crash, and the crash never actually came.
No, we're still wired technically.
Yeah. So I'm like, where the crash is going to be horrible.
My crash can't happen until Tuesday.
Oh, because you go back to the doctor.
No, I don't go to the doctor till Friday.
Oh,
I can't
no.
crash until Tuesday because I have going to the mountains tomorrow with Jen.
Yeah.
Then I have Monday, Kaylee and I are going to hang out and then go to see Jurassic Park at Red Rocks. That's going to be a thing.
Nice.
And I have to be all ready and done. And then on Tuesday I can crash.
So you got to balance some spoons.
I got to figure it out because I've already done a lot today because we still have people coming over tonight. I went over to the parents this morning.
Hey, guys.
No, if you say it, I'm going to delete the podcast.
No.
I will delete the entirety of the podcast.
Okay.
I'm not actually going to delete the podcast.
I'm just going to put a crown on you and then not explain it or something. I don't know.
What, in editing?
Yeah.
Like, have fun. Just tape it onto the screen. You can say it. It's fine.
Happy birthday, brother mine.
It's not.
It is.
Shitty, horrible, rotten birthday.
But we love you.
You shouldn't.
And we're glad you're here.
I mean, I'm here in theory.
In theory.
Yeah.
Just hypothetically.
So yeah, it's all birthday
Schrodinger's birthday.
Schrodinger spoons. Do you remember that?
Yes.
I don't know if I have them or not. I'll find out.
Do they exist? I don't know. Schrodinger spoons.
All
They
right.
both are and are not spoons.
I'm going to check to make sure it's recording still.
Okay. So we are joined today. Do you want to do introductions?
Well, I mean, I'm not good at them, but I can do it.
Do it.
This is Pedro.
Hello.
Here, let's get the mic closer.
Oh.
Like super close.
Check. Oh.
There
There
you
you
go.
go.
Can you hear
Perfect.
yourself?
Yeah.
So Pedro, you were a CNA?
Yep. Still currently one.
Good. Well, yes.
Fired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you turned into a different thing when you went on your own.
Yeah.
Cha. You have to talk right there. I know. It's convoluted. There we go.
Hello. Okay.
Are we good?
Yep.
Awesome.
There you go. Just hug it.
I'd rather not.
That's the good clean mic.
Oh, I understand, but I'm not gonna be here like all day long.
Wow.
You can do whatever you want.
Whatever works.
This is season 2. We do whatever we want.
Yeah. This is Pedro. He's not a brother-in-law. I mean, he
Sorta.
could be. But
I'm one of the peoples.
yeah.
One of
he's
our
one of our people.
Good peoples.
Great peoples.
Good peoples.
He's a CNA and he's here to talk and get his perspective on things.
Yeah.
And we have Rachel who's in Arizona with EDS.
Yeah. So
Nice.
she's joining us to kind of stir the conversation,
Yep.
which will be really cool.
I'm happy to be.
Nice.
So you want to tell us a little bit about you?
Well, I've been around all types of environments. I started out in psychiatric. Then I moved to geriatric, psychiatric. Then I went to emergency room, and up until last year, I was in different units, med surg, ICU, and through most of last year, it was just all ICU for COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was probably the worst that I've ever seen anybody in. But I've been doing this for 15, almost 16 years.
Okay.
Damn.
So
And you've seen it all, really. You've been around.
Yeah.
I've
Wow.
literally seen it all walks of life.
Yeah.
Yep, from famous senators to doctors who went batshit crazy.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, this you can cuss on here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
This is freeform.
Okay.
We don't
I
mask
don't know.
on our podcast.
Okay, good.
Yeah, just be yourself.
There's no bleep on there.
No.
Okay.
I
Cool.
mean,
It's
I'm
just
going to add one just to
nonsense.
annoy you now.
That'd be great. You can filter it later.
Yeah.
There you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I literally have seen it all. And up until last year, I probably saw the worst that I could ever see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think about it now, and I see these shows that portray what they think happened, and then I'm
Mhm.
like, you can't do that. You don't do that. Like, that's not what we did, you know.
Right. Like romanticizing this whole thing.
Yeah. Like it's funny to
Icky.
you know, writers and stuff, and it's not. It kind of pisses me off, but it's interesting to see, like, y'all are really stupid on what somebody's telling you what actually happened.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and it's like dramatization sells better.
Right. Yeah.
And you're like, okay, but could we have some facts maybe?
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, that's basically me in a nutshell.
Awesome.
Now, if you want to know about my party lifestyle, that's a different podcast. Like, you know.
Yeah, we'll do that as like the after show.
There you
Yeah.
go.
After dark.
The after show, the
After
after dark. Like Howard Stern, you know.
Yeah.
There
Yeah.
you go.
One of those. We'll set that up later. Don't worry about it.
And you're going through and listening to the podcast now, right?
When I get to,
Yeah.
yes.
Answer this. This is very important. Don't say no.
No,
Well, I
you can
have
say
to.
no, that's
No, I'm being forced. They have a gun to my head. I don't know if anybody can see this.
We just have hostages.
Right?
We do.
Just keep them in the basement.
Yep.
Bring them up for interviews.
You're going
Now
back.
speak.
Yeah.
Speak, peasant.
We'll send you back if you're not good. So
Dobby's not
my
free.
son, no.
Dobby's not free.
No free will. But yeah.
That's awesome.
Like I whenever I get to, I will. Of course, dealing with kids and
Yeah.
it's
Trying
not
to
like you
run
have
a
a very
business.
hectic life.
oh yeah, something
Busy.
like that. Busy.
Starting a business, the whole nine.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, taking
yeah.
care of 2 seniors. You
I
know, that's a
can't
challenge in
imagine.
itself. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
and then teenagers. You know,
Oh,
that's-
yeah.
I can't imagine having this and then having COVID and then having the kids in the house too.
Well, and
I've
everyone
got one
working
left
from
in the
home.
house. Mine are all grown.
Well, all of ours act grown.
Hopefully.
You know, well, no, they act too
My
grown.
10-year-old
Have
does.
two
Yeah.
grown, yeah.
Too grown, as
Too
if they
grown.
did pay the bills, and
Yeah.
you know,
They're at that phase.
and then you're like, oh wait, let's bring that back down a bit,
Testing those boundaries,
Right.
limitations. Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
Really.
Do you really want to make it to tomorrow, or you know,
They're opting out right now.
yeah, you have a choice. You can make it, or I mean, you can kind of see where your life is going right now.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I know we have some questions.
You have
Yep.
questions.
I do.
I'm
Yes.
just gonna ask random
Well,
stuff.
my like the first question that I wanted to ask, and this is just to kind of get the other side of the coin, right, is to see how we're kind of perceived when you come up against people with chronic pain or EDS or invisible illness, and then kind of what does chronic pain look like to you in the medical field?
Well, see, that's a funny thing because when you're working in the hospitals, you gotta kind of see who's in what pain because everybody comes in for pain.
Yeah.
And then later on, when they're already sitting in the bed, they're like, "Oh, well, I've been having this pain in my back, or you know, sometimes this happens." Okay, but how come you don't say that at the beginning? Well, I've told my doctors, and they just want to prescribe me, you know, Tylenol because you know the opioid thing is you know very high, and you know there's you gotta, you know, it's really hard to explain when it's a lot of people are coming for the same issues, and EDS was probably one of the only things that I've never really heard of up until I actually met Chris.
Yeah.
You know, and I've never, you know, known the situation, and you know, it's never come across my paperwork that says, "Oh, this person has EDS."
Yeah.
You know, the people have EBS, you know, which is a urinary tract infection
Right.
that's gone like way out of line.
Yeah.
And it's contagious, and you know, you got to gown up in isolation gowns. But you know, as far as chronic pain, it's just like, oh, okay, well, tell the doctor.
Yeah.
See what they can give you, Lyrica or, you know, Norco. Valium is very seldomly given.
Yeah.
Um,
So really for you, it's about like putting out those fires.
Yeah.
And putting out the most urgent fires.
Yeah.
yeah. Especially assessing like emergency situations. But you know, when they're already sitting there and they've, you know, been laying on one side, you know, you just don't know. Anything
Right.
can be hurting, and you, like I said, I've never known about this until I met him.
Yeah.
But now that I think about it more, it's like, I wonder how many people have gone undiagnosed,
Yeah.
or really looked into, that situation of, do I have something else than what I'm, being told I do?
Yeah.
And I've always kind of wondered that, but now more, that these undiagnosed situations are happening more often.
Yeah. Well,
So-
and that was going to be my next question. If and how the podcast has kind of shifted your perception.
She
If
just
at
wants you
all.
to stroke her ego.
No, don't do that. I'll leave. I'll just get up and dip out.
Positive
Just like,
reinforcement.
bye.
Nope, not here.
You're like, no, don't say nice things to me. I will run away.
No, it has, because it's, I've, again, dealing with people, and, people in rehab, they've fallen and they've broken their backs, and, sometimes it's accidents at home, older people trying to be heroes and change a light bulb,
Yeah.
but there's some that, oh, well, my back broke because I moved wrong.
Yeah.
Or I had a lady who we had to have in a bed, who had pins, and she was basically in a cage, and she said, I don't know how my bones keep breaking. And I never thought about it until something like this.
Yeah.
And thinking about it now, it's like, wow, this is like, weird that I've never even heard of this.
Right. How much goes unnoticed.
Yeah.
Well, and I was going to say, Rachel, you were just telling us that they found that you broke your back and you had no idea.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely.
She
And
found out.
I had never heard of EDS either until I got diagnosed with it.
Yeah.
See, that's what I wanted to see.
We were
'cause had to
afraid
chase it.
we were looking at MS and autoimmune diseases, but we had no idea even EDS was even in the realm of possibility.
Right. Right. Well, and that's really what this podcast is all about, is like, let's bring some light to those invisible things that everyone misses.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've been sitting here taking notes on this, like when you go in to see your doctor, you be
Yeah.
clear and
Yes.
upfront about your pain and prepare to give background and repeat with emphasis why you're there.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep. And if they don't listen to you, because I saw it all the time where doctors would walk in, spend, oh, how you feeling today? Are you doing okay? Yeah, I'm doing all right. All right, cool. Well, somebody will come in. Your nurse will be here later. And, they're basically getting paid for those 5 minutes for that whole hour that they saw you.
Yeah.
Make sure that your doctor is actually sitting there and speaking to you, and making sure that you're assessing all the situations that you have going on in ailments. Because if not, one thing can lead to another, and if something's not taken care of when it can be prevented, will end up hurting you in the long run.
Yeah.
And then your doctor's going to be like, how come you didn't say anything?
Right.
Well, I mean, I was afraid,
I discovered that when you treat the doctors as if they work for you,
Yeah.
at first you're kind of taken aback, but then, if they also see that you're knowledgeable but not a know-it-all,
Yes.
you're not just Googling random things, they're going to sit down and talk to you for longer.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And I've also seen doctors that will sit there for an hour and a half on a, admission. I'm be like, what's really going on? Why did this really happen? And those are, of course, your older doctors that have been doing this for a little while. Because the younger doctors, yeah, they can assess your situations and be like, okay, well, you need to probably change your eating habits, or you need to do this. Stop taking this so that, maybe we can see about changing this. But if they won't sit there and listen to you, if they're just in and out, like, that's not a really good doctor who's a good diagnostician.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense, because really, and that's the thing, is that they spend so little time actually face to face that we come up against this problem where they view a chart and then they decide already.
Oh, yeah.
Before they sit down and talk to you, they've reviewed your chart and they've already decided what's going on based on whatever is there. And so I've had to come up against that a few times where I'm like, no, they need to take that off of that chart, because that's not at all how that interaction went. And that's usually the point where I change my specialists. Yeah. Because, you know, they'll put you in as like conversion disorder, but not tell you about it.
Yeah. I want to see what my records are. I've
It's
never
so icky.
look.
Then
And
you can
I wanna
also
know.
ask for those records.
I need them.
You can tell them, I want a copy of my medical record. They ask you why. It's because it's my right.
Right. It is my medical information. I need
Yes.
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
That way
I'm
you
in the
can go.
process of going back and getting ones I don't have because of this,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
trying to put together some kind of spreadsheet on this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that'd be really handy.
Yep, because if you can go from where you started to where you are now as an official diagnosis, you can be like, look at all the bullshit that I've had to go through just to find out now later on in my life, wasted time, wasted money, doctors, medicines, that I could have prevented, or not prevented, you know, because this is
But avoided, yeah.
Avoided more ailments in the long run.
Right. Or more useless
Right.
visits.
I keep
Yeah.
telling my kids, you know, it's a good thing that I got diagnosed because I abused my body for years
Same.
Yes.
and put it through tons of trauma,
I still do.
and I
by the
don't
way.
want them to.
Yeah.
That's exactly why I got my
Before the
diagnosis.
July weekend, yes.
Yeah. It's
For
that
the
whole
kids.
like, I deserve a clean house and a hurt body.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I can relate.
Yeah.
I can relate.
You're like, it hurts anyway. I'm going to be productive with it.
Might as
And
well.
I'm still like that. Like, I am not at all good at self-preservation at all.
You're
and
the
I-
opposite.
I'm the complete opposite. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. Please, God, don't let it be a long time.
Well,
But-
anyway.
I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm going to do what I want to do because fighting with the body is like,
Okay.
like,
you
I
say
don't
that,
know.
but you've gotten better. The podcast
have
has gotten
gotten
you way better at
better.
taking care of yourself.
yes. But I definitely don't avoid things that are like potentially injurious to me.
Yeah, and I mean, I was running around the house earlier, so
Yeah.
I can't really talk.
Well, and you did injure yourself.
just
so
a little bit.
I win because I don't have any injuries from my nonsense this last week.
Oh yeah, show me the bruises. Let's talk.
Oh yeah. So this week I had to get my MMR and hepatitis B shots because childhood didn't happen.
Yeah, it wasn't real.
It wasn't
We were
real.
blinked into existence.
Yeah. I climbed out of a cave one day and just joined society.
Like, keep that one.
Right? That one's okay. The other one, that's kind of iffy. you
We're
know?
gonna
Yeah.
leave those in there to bake a little
Right.
longer. That's why I'm brown. Just kidding.
Hey,
I'm well cooked. It's good.
I'm
I
just
come
sun kissed.
I know. I make you look
Oh, goodness.
next to me. You look
I-
really
My
dark.
eldest went into the Navy
Oh really?
this last week, and we spent 4th of July weekend at the river
Uh-huh.
Oh,
on a
nice.
pontoon boat, a houseboat with a slide, and I was hauling my rear end up and down the decks and going down the slide with my son because it was his last hurrah as my baby.
Yeah.
Aw.
Well, that's awesome.
Super
And I
sweet.
ended up with, you know, lots of bruises and some burns and a sprained knee, but it was well worth it.
Yeah.
Because he had a really good send off.
Yeah, that's the thing is like we have to balance what's worth what. And
Yeah.
at this point, like
Exactly.
I've hit this point now that I'm back at the gym, and I don't know why I forget every time how much better I feel when I'm staying active. But like you dig that hole, right?
Yeah.
And then it's so hard to climb out of that hole of not being in motion, and then finally you're in motion, and now I have super spoons.
Well, yeah. Let's say I went from 4 years of being bedridden almost to
yeah,
the last 3 months of being super active,
yeah,
and just a med change was all it needed.
yeah,
And now I feel so much better.
right. And that's the thing, and it's I
Psychotic meds are working.
Well, they are.
wish that too.
I'm just kidding.
Little did Pedro know.
Little do you know.
Wow.
My antipsychotics
We're
are
super
great.
honest here.
Keep you in a happy mood.
Yeah.
Well, no, I have stuff that keeps me from being manic.
Yeah.
Ah, those are fun.
Oh, totally.
Because then you go on like the rage cleans.
And then you can hurt yourself and you get more ragey and more cleany.
Yeah.
Your house will look spotless, and then you'll regret
And
it.
then you'll want to die. It's great fun for the whole family.
Well, now, here's my question to you guys.
Yeah.
Since, you know, obviously you're in more pain and you seem to be in less pain, right? You know, what does it feel like? Because the description that I'm looking for is kind of what, you know, I'm thinking it is. So if you can describe it before I tell you what it feels, what it seems to feel like, I can better understand, well, okay, maybe I've had those people before.
Okay, like adjusting the perspective. Yeah. Okay.
Pain is a good start, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know that we're in different amounts of pain necessarily.
It's just very different.
Yeah, we have different pains. And again, simply because I have no self-preservation instincts.
She's a psycho.
I just carry on with pain. So I appear to be a well-functioning human, generally.
If you read the chat logs we have, though.
Oh, it's terrible. I'm like, I would like to die today.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was productive and now I'm dead.
My skeleton craves freedom.
Yes, my skeleton craves freedom. Yeah, I don't know. It's just very different because we're dealing with different acute pains right now.
And they're always changing, too.
Yes, and that's the thing is that with Ehlers-Danlos, it's not like having an injured back where the back is what hurts, right? Mm-hmm. So because you've come up against chronic pain patients who have that one pain. EDS is different because we don't have one pain. We have multiple different systemic pains going on at the same time, and they change as time goes on and how, like, what's affecting what. Mm-hmm. So currently for me, what's bothering me the most is my right glute muscle is super caught in my hip joint.
Yeah.
Essentially. So that is a pain. And then I have sciatica currently. It's weird. I have to like check in with myself to go, okay, what hurts? Hold on.
While you're talking, that's all I've been doing. It's like,
yeah,
where
I'm
am
like,
I at?
where am I? Elbow hurts, shoulder hurts, headache. I didn't know I had a headache until just now, but I have a headache apparently. I should probably crack my neck. That's really what it is. But there's just different systemic pains that go on. So like gut pain is really, really bad for me. And I'm just miserable and laid out for days. Sciatica is kind of a staple. So that lives with me for the most part. And then it's just joints when they fall out.
Yeah.
And then you have dysautonomia on top of all of it, where you're like, I went outside and then I'm passed out 6 times.
I stood up and now I'm blacking out.
I was in the shower and I broke my face on the thing. No,
I was in the tub that one time and I blacked out and they thought I took a nap. Like, oh, you just fell asleep in the tub.
Medical gaslighting is so weird.
I straight up blacked out. I was out. Oh my God. And they were like, no, it was just a nap.
Like, you were soaking in there, bro. Like, I mean, you know, you had the roses and everything. Like,
that's the only way to do it.
Nap.
The perfumes,
right?
I got the candlelights.
The chloroform,
going. Right? Turned off all the lights. Don't even knock on the door. Like,
right.
You know?
I set up the bath.
Yeah.
And then I blacked out.
4 or 5 hours later, this guy, he's like, "What's going on? What happened?"
Okay. Or we have those days. A couple weeks ago, it was that we were both super potsy for who knows why. I think it was just the weather. And like every time I turned my head, I was like, oh, where did the world go?
Oh God.
What just happened? Everything's tilted now.
But so that happens along with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So kind of like syncope?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I've had a lot of syncope. I had a TIA.
But yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Minor?
Yeah, super minor.
Okay.
I was out for like a couple seconds, I think. But I woke up to Sophie waking me up when she was like 2.
Oh.
And it was just her and me. It was really scary.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Yeah.
Then the other one came along, then, you know. I'm just kidding.
And then number 2 happened.
Right, number 2 happened.
But we share similar symptoms a lot of the time.
Yeah, on the major hips and joints.
Yeah.
Like, I'm more hip and back right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, and your back's
just messed up.
Yeah.
What happens when they take tumors out?
The surgery. And then the scarring from the surgery, and then the arachniditis, or whatever it is.
Dosis and ditis, both.
Doisis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
sounds like New Jersey.
I think.
Well, what does Rachel have? Like, what do you have to deal with on the daily?
On the daily, it's I have disc degeneration in my cervical and lumbar spine.
Oof.
So I'm constantly in pain throughout my back, but and my knee and my jaw. But other than that, things tend to come and go, like headaches or shoulders, or my arthritis will flare up, or, you know, my elbows or something. Mm-hmm. But the pain that I'm in constantly, I tend to try and put on the back burner and ignore as much as possible.
That's the
and
plan.
especially if it's not really intense, it's like it's somewhere like this buzz in the background, like the ringing in your ears that just never goes away.
Yeah, exactly.
You ignore it.
Yeah, we learned
And
to tune it
you
out.
focus on what's screaming at you the loudest.
Exactly.
And so when I go in to get, you're like, oh, how you feeling today? Well, I'm all right today, because all right for me is relative.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have that. There was like a lady explaining it as your house is on fire.
Yeah.
And you don't tell the fireman, like, well, the cabinets are more on fire.
Right.
You know, you're prioritizing in your head, but everything is on fire. Like, you need to put everything out. But we're like, oh no, it's mainly the TV.
Right. You're like, the curtains have been burning for a really long time, but I'm kind of used to it now. But the TV,
if you could do something about
that, new and pretty bad. And can we put that one out?
Can we get a bigger one?
Like, but that's exactly it. Is that a lot of the time we're like tuning it out.
Yeah.
And we get really good at what I call baseline, where we just adopt everything as our new normal.
Yeah.
And so we are extraordinarily functional with all the things that we have going on, but it's exhausting.
No, I mean, it sounds it. Yeah, because my perception and what I was trying to see if y'all would mention it is if it feels like your bones are being stripped away from like the meat or, you know, the joint. When you say it falls out, does it feel like that? Does it, you know, obviously it's a lot of pain.
It's interesting because it depends on
when you dislocate something, it depends on where it's at.
Yeah, like I know in my shoulder, I've had muscle spasms that have pulled my joints out of socket before, and that just feels like a really deep burn. Like it just burns. And then you have other ones that are like really sharp bone pain.
That's what the knees are like for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, like somebody's stabbing you with a knife pick.
Exactly.
Yes. So you get like really sharp bone pain. You get really like, I don't know. Muscle pain's interesting because it can be 100 different things or feel 100 different ways.
Well, and I'm sure it feels different for us because we're already on like nerve meds.
Yes.
So muscular isn't as acute as it used to be.
Yeah. Well, and like the neuropathies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
So
God
like
for
pins and
gabapentin.
needle. Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. So gabapentin.
Yep.
Pen. I call it gabapentin.
Gabapentin.
Yep.
I just call them gabbies.
The yo
Gabapentin
gabba
is my
gabba.
best friend.
Did you take
Yeah.
your gabbies today? Yeah.
It's
The yo gabba
Always.
gabbas.
I can't function without it anymore.
I can't either.
How many? I mean, you have to tell me, but how many
I don't even
are
know.
you on, like per day?
I'm supposed to take 900 total.
Yeah. So we're on the same dose, I think.
Yeah,
which
we're both 300 three times a
yeah.
day.
I at one point was on 1,200 milligrams 3 times a day.
Same.
That's a lot.
And the brain
I'm on
fog was just
3
awful.
times a day.
How much?
800 3 times a day.
Oh
Yeah.
wow, yeah, that's what we sunk down to. So we went to 1,200, 800, 6, and then 3. So I've been able to like back off of it a lot because it just the brain fog was really really bad. And I'm functional on 3, which is good. I actually had a neurologist tell me that his perfect dosage would be to take 600 milligrams 4 times a day because your body actually can't absorb any more than that anyway.
Interesting.
Yeah.
2,400.
Huh.
Yeah. So it was interesting. So I haven't talked to my doctor because that's not one of my immediate fires.
Right. That's the background fire.
That's background fire right now.
Well, it's like we have to prioritize.
Yeah.
Like right now, I'm working on getting my my hip looked at again.
Yeah.
But my back needs to be seen, and I need to do something about my shoulders.
Right.
Like I have to re-scope them.
Well, and it's really frustrating too because you always feel like you're going in with something new, and you're like, no, it's not a new problem. It's been there. I'm just ready to address it now.
Right. That's
But you
my
don't know how to
favorite-
communicate that. 'Cause
in the
you're like,
ER.
you always have
especially.
something to complain about. And I'm like, but it's all the same stuff.
The ER visits where they're like, "How long has this been going on?" And you're like,
My whole life.
I think it was 2 years ago it started. Why haven't you addressed it?
I've been busy.
Other things first, and then this got bad today. I don't know.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I didn't do something. Like if I'm
Right.
going to the ER, I'm checking to make sure I didn't dislocate something important or break a
Or,
tendon
like-
or snap something.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've given up on ER altogether.
Yeah.
I'm like urgent care or bust.
Well, it's like
That's
that
it.
guy
Oh, yeah.
on who commented. He said
Yeah.
he gives up on A&E
He's
completely.
not done A&E at all. And I'm like, I don't blame you because it's super difficult to
Yeah.
get treatment. Because like we've said before, you're competing with like traumas from car accidents and fires and shootings and accidents and like whatever.
Yes.
So they're really acute problems. So the ER is really not for us unless we're like, hi, I'm dying.
Yeah.
But
see, that's the thing, is that, like, you know, being someone who's worked in this field and being in the ER, you know, well, I'm from Texas, and I worked in a downtown hospital.
Mm-hmm.
So I was, oh, sure, give me more.
Coffee time.
And I just had some.
That's fine.
Big dumbass.
We function
like,
on solely coffee here.
well,
We
these
start with
drugs?
frappuccinos,
Coffee and
and now we're working on the frappuccinos in a can.
Yep.
Or a bottle.
No, but working in a downtown hospital, we got a lot of the shootings and a lot of the you know, drug overdoses
Oh yeah.
and the car accidents. You know, because we were a trauma 2 hospital.
Wow.
So, you know, it was always go, go, go. And I hated to hear a doctor, and I hate to hear this, and I'll call them out. I don't give a damn how much money they make. Hey, bro, like, you can't tell somebody that. You know, that is against their right. You know, that you're competing with people who actually need to be here. Just like that one bastard on TikTok who's calling you dumb motherfuckers. Dude,
Oh, that guy,
You can't
yeah.
fucking do that.
Yeah, no, he's like,
Fill
he
me
calls
in.
everybody.
Like, you dumbasses, you dipshits, you
Oh.
fucking idiots. You
Yeah.
know, I don't respect that. Like, if you're a doctor, you're held to a certain standard, and you know, it's cool to have fun, and, you know, like, oh, hey, like, you know, don't do this because, you know, you're
Right.
really just bullshitting people.
Yeah.
And I hate to hear that, because, you know, that one time or any time, the only time that you do go in, you could find out that you have something more major going on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're sitting there like, damn, that sucks. Like, you know, like, if we would have caught this earlier, you
Yeah.
know,
I've had that happen before.
and whether it's urgent care or the ER, like, everybody is supposed to be treated the same,
Right.
you know, where no one's being told, like, dude, stop wasting our time.
Right.
And I've heard that, and I've been like, dude, you can't tell that to people. They come in to seek us for help, and you're basically blowing them off.
Well, and then you wind up with people who refuse to go back to doctors as a whole.
You're right.
And
It's
then
scared off.
it's putting people at risk,
Yep.
which is really unfortunate.
Oh,
And
yeah.
my husband is one of those people who's like, I'm never seeing a
And
doctor.
it's terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, it's
For
like
about
the
3 years after my daughters were born, I refused to go to a doctor because of that.
Yeah.
Because I went in and said, I need help, there's something wrong. And the doctor blew me off and said, you're fine. It's all in your head, you're fine. And I'm like, dude, this isn't my first rodeo. I was pregnant.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're fine, everything's fine. And I went into the ER 2 weeks later because I knew I wasn't fine. And they said, if we'd have caught this 2 days ago, we could have saved her.
Oh,
Wow.
2 days.
that's horrible.
If he'd have listened to me the first 3 times, he could have saved my daughter's life.
Oh my God. I'm so sorry.
But he didn't.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Well, see, and me, when I didn't like going to doctors, because, you know, my whole, you know, Mexican side of my family in me is like, dude, you don't need a doctor. You're a
Duct
badass, right?
Yeah.
You know,
all
yeah,
you
just
need.
put some duct tape, some Vicks, and
Duct
drink a
tape and
Sprite,
dirt. Rub
That's
some
how I
dirt
grew
on
up.
it.
right?
Yep.
You know, and I had a really bad corneal ulcer,
Ooh.
and that I didn't even know about, because my young dumbass self wanted to wear my contacts and not change them out
Oh no.
Oh.
for about a week straight.
Oh God.
And you know, my son's mother, she was pregnant, and she went into labor on shit, I don't even remember when he was born.
We'll cut that out.
On a Tuesday. No, I'm just kidding. It was on a Tuesday, and of course he was born on a Thursday.
Mm.
And you know, that whole week, that Saturday before, my eye was kind of red, and I was like, you know, whatever, it's just allergies. Well, you know, fast forwarding to Tuesday, it was really red, and I'm like, oh, it's just pink eye, right?
Yeah.
You know, just put some drops in my eyes, burned the hell out of it.
Ooh.
It was bad. And then comes Thursday, my son's born, and the damn doctor that was delivering my son, I told him I want to cut the cord. He goes, no, you have an infection in your eye. Like, you have pink eye. Yeah. I'm not letting you do it. I was like, fuck you, I'm going to do it. Right? And he was like, no, I can't. You know, if something happens to the baby, like, you know, I don't want to be responsible. All right, fine, whatever, screw you. So then I couldn't take it anymore. It was so painful. I felt like something was crawling in my eye. Yeah. And I couldn't see. Everything was foggy out of my left eye. And I said, I'm sorry, but I got to go downstairs. And she goes like, are you, fucking kidding me? Like, I was like, dude, my eye hurts.
Yeah.
So I went downstairs and they told me that, oh, it's just pink eye. You're fine. Here's some drops, which made it worse. They made me throw up, and then they gave me morphine, and that made me even more sick. That's where I found out that I was allergic to morphine.
Weird.
Oh my god.
Oh no.
So I was passing all this, whatever was in my system, throwing it up, and then the next day I had to go to the specialist on Friday. And the specialist told me, if you would have waited another day today to go to the doctor,
you would have lost the eye.
I would have had to have taken this out in emergency surgery.
Yeah.
I was like, no way. Like, no way. And then the drops were like these little, like, maybe 10 drops in each vial.
Yeah.
Were close to $300 for each one.
God.
Wow.
And he goes, I have samples that this medicine just came out. We're going to try it out. I'm like, sure enough, within a couple days, it started clearing up. And then he goes, for the rest of your life, you're going to have scarring on your eye. And I do. It's just really, really small now, but it still makes things blurry. But, it was pretty crazy. I was like, wow. Like, if I would have never have gone, like, I would have lost my eye.
Right.
Yeah. So you kind of are used to that, like, suck it up culture, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Mexicans are horrible. Our pride got the best of us.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I grew up around a bunch of ranchers.
Yeah,
the same mentality.
I was going to say rural populations are like that too.
I once tried to jump over a fence and put a T-post into my leg.
Yep.
And got stuck on it. I had to get pulled off, and I went inside, and my mom helped me. She's like, "I will just put some a paper towel and duct tape
it around."
But it was really deep, like yeah, and it worked.
Like you felt it scrape your bone.
Yeah.
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 Wow. Yeah, it's interesting. So
I think rural populations and ethnic groups, they generally tend to have that whole I'm tough as nails thing going on.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I know I did. I grew up on farms, so.
Yep, there you go.
Yeah, for sure.
It's definitely that culture of like, suck it up. Well, like either it'll clear up on its own or I'm going to die.
It has to be a big deal to go to town. Like for me, that would have been like dying. You have to be, if you're not airlifted out, you're not.
And the cost.
Yeah. Oh God.
Is insane.
I got diagnosed with chickenpox in the back alley.
Oh God!
There was a doctor who was willing to actually look at me, and we had to go out the back.
Sorry, that's fucking.
What? And he was
in the back alley. Oh, you got chickenpox.
Yeah, he looked at him. He's like, "Yeah, it's chickenpox for sure. Go home, take this stuff."
Oh my God!
I would have been like, "You got bit by fleas. It's cool. Don't worry about it."
Oh my God! See, when I had to go get my shots, they took blood because they were like, "You don't have a copy of your vaccination records, right?" And I was like, "No." Yeah. And so I went in and they took blood for everything, and he goes, the only thing you're immune to is chickenpox, and it's because you had the shingles. And I was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. No joke.
Wow, you had the shingles.
I did.
Recently.
Right after hip surgery.
Wow, that's interesting because usually you don't see that until the older population.
Well, and I ran around with shingles for over a week before I finally let someone look at it, because I was like, I'm fine. I'm just being a baby. There's nothing wrong. I'm fine. Well, why does this hurt so bad?
Yeah, I was going to say, you were berating yourself.
I was annoyed because I was like, this should not hurt this bad. This is ridiculous. Suck it up. Go on. And come to find out it's shingles. And they looked at me and they were like, nothing we can do. It's too late. Too late.
Way to go.
Figure it out for yourself.
Well, you already got past the hard part at that point.
The contagious part?
I took like 2 weeks off work because we have babies in the building.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, we don't want to do that.
Yeah, I think shingles are miserable.
Yeah. It did not feel good.
Absolutely misery.
It was nice to know I had shingles, though, because then I was like, oh, I'm not just being a baby.
Yeah, exactly.
This actually is a thing. Now, I don't know. I was going to say, what in your mind does pain look like? Because I know we come up a lot against not looking like we're in enough pain to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
So in the medical field, what is considered, like, what does pain look like?
Well, see, my thing is and still is, okay, how much pain are you in?
Mm-hmm.
If I see that you're walking and you're saying, oh, my leg's broken, I'll be like, come on, dude.
Right.
Like, how's it broken if you're still walking? Which is kind of funny because, in Montana, when I was on a travel assignment, there was an accident with a tractor getting pulled out of a ditch, and the rope snapped, or the chained rope snapped, and it severed this guy's calf muscle. And my man walked into the hospital like that, in shock, of course, because the hyperadrenaline is going.
Yeah.
But to me, pain is, okay, where does it hurt?
Mm-hmm.
How much does it hurt? Does it hurt like you're having a baby if it's a female? And that's the closest thing that I can relate to extreme pain.
Right.
Not being sexist or anything, or
well, yeah, but there's like
but for
metric,
a guy,
right?
a metric level of pain. For a guy, I'm like, okay, does it feel like you're having a kidney stone out of your junk?
Kidney stone's not painful enough. You have to think.
Well, maybe not for you guys.
No, like for me,
I wouldn't ever know if something was wrong because everything hurts anyway.
I'd be like tumor surgery when they opened up my spine and took the dural layer off, and that was painful.
That was your pain. That was your 10. Yeah. So spinal surgery is your 10.
Right.
Yeah. But I would address every situation, differently.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If I would obviously see you that you're bent over and you're just like, my back hurts really bad, or my stomach hurts really bad, or my leg hurts because it's been broken before and it feels like the infection from the surgery or whatever is causing a lot of pain. Those types of things that you can't see physically, like on the inside, it's I try to take them seriously, but I kind of rule out, okay, is this for real?
Yeah.
Or is this...
Yeah, you have to make that call at some point.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing is that, like, when we go in, we don't really think about that, like, I don't know. It's like object permanence, right? Where for us, the ER only exists when we go into it.
Right.
And it's always horrible. But then we have to remember that the doctors and the nurses are dealing with people who are drug seeking, or
I always
are
think about that.
hypochondriacs, or are like psychiatric need, or like all of those things. So they have a baseline that we don't have.
Yeah.
Because we're like, I know I'm not lying, and I know that this is as bad as I'm saying it is. But how do I make you understand when your basis is skewed by all of this negative data? Right? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. And I would tell patients, I would tell them, hey, if they tell you that, you need to tell them, like, don't judge me by what you see in others, because I am not someone else who's here regularly.
Yeah.
If you found any kind of other drug which isn't on my prescription list, I can understand.
Yeah.
If there's, whether it's a methamphetamine or, what are those other ones? Barbiturates?
Yeah.
Xanax and all that stuff that you're constantly taking, or, you popped for it.
Yeah.
Aside from your med list. Then, okay, I understand. But don't rule me out because I'm not one of these people. I'm in so much pain that if it was you and you were in the hospital, you'd be bitching about it.
Right.
And I would tell them to say that to the doctors or the nurses.
Mm-hmm.
So that you can make them understand that, like, hey, okay, this person's not, bullshitting.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to get them to, like, jump onto our metric. Like what you did with what did we talk about last week? The laughing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, laughing when you're in extreme pain and then having them finally understand and turn around and go, oh no.
It was when the doctor was doing the kidney biopsy and he was pulling the tissue off. I giggled and he was like, "What's funny?" I was like, "Oh, it just really hurts." He's like, that's how you function? Like, yeah, I giggle when I hurt.
Yes.
Well, it's just
I get it.
And it's weird because, you know, my ex's mother just passed away recently, right? And you know, when we went to go see her, because I had my son here and I took him back home. And when I saw her and she was, you know, laying there, you know, I just looked and was like, damn, that sucks. And walked away. You know, because I didn't feel that, you know, even though she was an important person to my life, not only my son's life, but mine as well, you know, it was just like, oh, that sucks. And that's how I deal with like death and, you know, pain.
Right, because you like your brain has to protect you some way, right?
I think we learn to compartmentalize things.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially after last year, after seeing so many, you know, bodies that like you're in one room and then the doctor goes like, hey, well, you know, I'm calling it. And then you're just like, damn. And then the room next door, you know, you have to gown down and gown back up, wash your hands, do all that stuff in split seconds to try to save that next person. And then, damn, we're calling it.
Yeah. It's so interesting to like get a peek behind those curtains because you don't think about.
I saw that in one of my best friends. She's an intern.
Yeah.
And she got COVID, so they put her on the COVID ward, and she just continued to work all the way through it.
Oh, baby.
And she got really, really, really jaded and just hardened by it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you have to. Like at some point, your brain has got to protect you from what could be traumatizing, right? Like we don't think about it because we are traumatized by the medical system. But if we think about it the other way around, like doctors and nurses and medical staff are constantly being traumatized.
Yeah.
And we, unfortunately, like it becomes our job to be better self-advocates and better communicators and really be able to kind of lead our own care at some point.
I am the worst at that. I still am. I've gotten better, but
yes.
Would it be helpful? Does anybody think it would be helpful to try and create some kind of spreadsheet or document where we could put in some of our medical history, our medical records, so that we go in to get service or to get treatment or to get help? We can hand this to the doctors and say, this is kind of our history at a glance, but with our most recent testing results or our most recent imaging or whatever. Would that be a helpful tool?
I'm going to say yes.
Or doctors would.
I'm going to say yes because, you know, like I said, what you experienced in the beginning is not what you're experiencing now. Now, you could have had bypass open heart surgery 15 years ago. And right now that your heart isn't functioning as strongly, 15 years has gone by. And you're not functioning the same way because your heart is actually like, you know, it's going on its last leg. So that needs to be addressed. So if you get with your doctor and your medical staff and you tell them, okay, and this is part of your right, that you can go over your care plan with them and you can tell them like, hey, okay, my medical record shows this, but this is from a long time ago. Can we, you know, put that as a past medical history as, you know, being administered?
Like a resolved problem.
Resolved.
Yeah.
Because if not, you're still going to be treated for the same thing. And then it's like, okay, but this medicine doesn't work with what happened 15 years ago.
Right. That's actually really interesting.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I think if you went through...
And especially with like the mast cell, we can become allergic to things at any point in time for no reason. So
yes. I was just thinking about like the spreadsheet in general. I think it'd be really interesting to go through and have like a list of those comorbidities or concerns and then go through and like to the side the date that you had it addressed or so on and so forth, so you can kind of track. Do you know what I mean?
No, like, yeah, it's I at one point I went to write out my medical history and date everything on just paper, and it was a mess. It was chaos.
Yeah.
But I did it for the same reason, because having all that information that readily available would be so handy.
Yeah.
Yes, and if you go and let's say you do go into the ER, and you tell your person that you're with at the moment, be like, I need you to keep this with you at all times in case something happens to me and I'm rushed to the hospital. You can take this and be like, this is my actual ailments. This is what I've been feeling the past, 6 months.
Yeah.
Writing that stuff down when it's major and then it goes away, and then a couple days later you feel the same pain in a different area. It kind of makes it's like a chronological history of your pain assessment.
Yeah, like a timeline.
Yeah, of your own pain assessment, so that way the doctor can be like, oh shit, like maybe I gotta look more into this.
Yeah.
Because if we're not challenging our doctors to treat us better, then what's the outcome of somebody getting actually really severely,
right,
injured
put at
or
risk
something?
Or
Yep.
ignored to death. Yeah.
Awesome.
You were going to say something, Christopher?
That's what I've spent the last few months trying to start doing, is compiling all of this information and to see if I can condense it. And then if people start doing this, maybe we can
Find common threads.
Form some kind of database to find the common threads and to help further the research.
I think that would be amazing, because really the thing is, with so many of us are like self-diagnosed, right? We're like, it is this. I need you to look for this. At that point, like, why not? Why not take more command over what's going on and actually make strides? Because we can sit here and be upset about the medical system all day long, but at the end of the day, are we doing something to help or change it?
Are we doing something to help fix it? Are we doing something to further? Because we have the best medical system in the world. It has problems, but the only way it's going to get fixed is if we advocate for ourselves.
Yeah.
We step in and say, okay, we need to start helping fix this. It's like litter, if you don't go out and start picking up the trash, it's not going to get done.
Yeah.
Right.
That'd be really handy for imposter syndrome too.
I think so, because then everybody, like, I know this podcast is great for imposter syndrome because they can hear themselves in what we talk about.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it would be really interesting to have something that's like, hey, this weird quirk popped up in these people, all of these people, and hey, it might be a common thread with Ehlers-Danlos.
Well, and in tracking it in a way.
Yeah.
Because I have hip pain that goes away, and I still have to make that appointment.
Yeah.
But I keep blowing it off because it doesn't hurt imminently.
Yeah.
But it will later.
Yeah.
Like, it's on and off.
Right.
And I know there's something wrong with it, but...
With the abdominal pain, I waited 3 whole days before I went in.
Yeah.
Which is a problem, because then I put myself at risk for, like, burst appendix or a blockage.
Well, but see, that's the thing, that we're, as far as the medical staffing industry, is that we're telling, unless you're about to damn die and you feel like you're about to damn die, you should come in. But I've seen it where one person goes in, okay, we're going to keep you overnight for observation. Then 3 days later, they're coming in because that same problem got a lot worse.
Yeah.
Because they didn't address it in the, because they just blew it off and they, I guess, sped read through their chart.
Yeah.
Well, and what it seems like is that, and I don't know if this is because the medical community experiences a lot of people who are not aware of their bodies the same way we are. And I've had people tell me that our body awareness is weird. We are unusually aware of our bodies. So it's really hard when you're trying to get someone to trust that you know your body when so many other people don't. And they're like, this hurts. And you're like, where? I don't know. Why? I don't know. And then we're like, 3rd rib up, it's out. I need it pushed this way, like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
But it's hard because they do become so jaded with this, like, people don't understand their own anatomy.
Yep.
And then when you come up against someone who does understand their own anatomy, you're like, oh, I think you're full of shit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get ruled out real quick if you try to one-up the doctor.
Yeah.
But when there's a doctor in the ER that doesn't know anything about a possibility of such illnesses and genetics that go along with it, then, that guy's just going to be like, dude, you're just another person seeking meds.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and the other thing that we encounter
horses.
are people that know it, but they know that they took like a week of EDS.
Not even a week.
Like a day.
It was like a page
and
in
all
the
they
book
know
that I read
is that
7 years ago.
We have stretchy skin and we're hyperflexible.
Yeah.
There's no mention of the pain or the POTS or the dysautonomia. Like,
well, and
MCAS.
it's what bothers me is that like POTS and like dysautonomia and MCAS are diagnosed like separately from EDS.
Yeah.
I really feel like they should be included in the criteria because it is such a common thread. And there's like that would add to the bank of symptoms for diagnosis, and people could get diagnosed faster.
Right.
And
Just
more
like,
reasonably.
It's like dementia. Like, there's 4 types.
Mm-hmm.
And before I got certified for the actual class, I had no idea. I just thought, oh, that just guy lost his memory.
Yeah.
Like, he's old.
Yeah.
But I didn't know it can happen to a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
Vascular dementia, Lou Gehrig's disease was one of the most major ones.
Yeah.
Or it is.
Yeah.
And the other 2 are, I forgot.
Yeah.
But
that's the thing. Like,
it's one of those things. It's like those are all categorized within one, mindset.
Yeah.
You lose your
Like it's in
mind.
the category.
Alzheimer's is another one.
Right. Right.
But, when you have a bunch of situations and people that have come up and said, here's my book, this is what I'm experiencing, and then doctors filing that and putting it, out there for other medical boards to be like, there's a common issue here. We need to address this, just like dementia. It's not just one type.
Right.
You have, with your POTS, right? That's what you said.
Yeah.
And the other one,
mast cell activation. So it creates an allergic reaction to anything and anything.
Like exercise or taking new meds.
Or alcohol.
That's just mine. Mine's just exercise allergy.
I actually have an exercise allergy now. So I exercise and then I sneeze for hours and hours afterwards.
Yeah.
Or if I drink alcohol, I get what I used to call a 2-day cold.
Yep.
Where I will be congested
so
and miserable
bizarre.
for 2 days after.
Wow.
So, but I've also had like sunlight gives me hives sometimes, or running water gives me hives sometimes.
Yeah.
So just weird, stupid stuff.
It's that TikTok. It's my body knows how to do the things. It's
It
just choosing not
doesn't want to.
Can we please try this med? No.
That's why the body's name is Karen.
Yeah.
Because she is a piece of work. We are not friends. We coexist, but we're not friends.
But yeah, I really do think that we should be more in tune with what we tell the doctors. In I wish that this was something that people can come and ask. Because if people knew that, hey, if I actually write stuff down and I go up to my doctor when I've had 3 days of pain and I'm either puking my guts out or this and that, and I can't be pregnant or I can't, be this or that, then maybe they'll be like, okay, well, let's go ahead and sit you down and actually get you upstairs. Let's get you that MRI. Let's get you that CAT scan, see what's going on in your brain besides, what you say it is.
Right. It took me 8 years to get my first scan.
That's ridiculous. Because the other thing that we come up against is like, oh, you're too young.
Yeah, I was too young to have.
You're too young to have these problems. You look fine. You're too young to have these problems. And you're like, I'm 28 and I've had 3 joints work done, and this is not normal for 28-year-old. You've had more than that. You've had 6 surgeries.
Yeah, gonna be 7.
Yeah. So I've had 3 surgeries and you've had 6 surgeries.
Which tracks if you follow it. That's why I was counting, because I wanted to see like age wise. I was at the same amount you were at that age.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it was all shoulder work.
Yeah.
You have hips.
Well, and I haven't had the left one worked on yet because it's not on fire enough to worry about right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I could preempt it, but I just don't want to. I need 2 arms for a little while.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it is. It really is just so interesting to look at things from different angles and perspectives. And I know we've talked about it before, where we've talked about how doctors are human and they have their own biases and they're coming up against their own schema and their own understanding of how people function.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it becomes our job to teach them how to handle us.
It's like,
I think it also helps to remember that doctors are called practitioners for a reason. They're practicing.
Yes.
They're still learning, just like we are.
Yeah.
And if they're smart doctors, they continue to learn throughout their entire career.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I love that.
Yep. And then they can specialize.
Mm-hmm.
Like my thing was, before COVID happened, I really still would like to be a nurse. But as far as this is going, and it's going to keep going further for, who knows how many years, where they're going to try and, bullshit us that, oh, we can't get rid of it, this and this and that. Or they can.
Yeah.
But they're making it like the flu.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's going to keep coming and change variants and yada yada. Okay,
right.
That's fine. But before COVID, I truly wanted to be a nurse and specialize in the ER and critical care.
Oh, wow.
Because
that's heavy.
I've done that.
Yeah.
I was there, and the adrenaline, and it's kind of fucked up, but the adrenaline of seeing someone come in with their arm hanging off from an accident, a stabbing, gunshot wounds, and taking care of that person was interesting to me.
That's not fucked up. I'd rather have the person who's getting the adrenaline rush and wanting to work on you.
Yes. Rachel just said it is. It gets addictive.
It's addictive. We're adrenaline to some degree.
Yes, I would absolutely agree, because I'm so fascinated. Anytime they have to go inside of my body, or there's a camera that I can see inside my own body, I'm like, I want to watch. I want to see what you're doing. That's so cool.
I got to watch my angio. That was fun.
Oh. See, that one is icky to me because it's inside of the vein.
It was so crazy. Like, you could feel it in the vein, like going in and up. And then when it got to the heart, you couldn't feel it anymore, and you could see it up on. Oh, it was so cool.
That's so cool.
And
my favorite one is like when they go into the joint with the dye, and you can actually see. Yeah. But I'm always so fascinated. I'm like, I want to see what you're doing. I want to see my insides. That sounds cool.
Yep.
And I'm one of those people that, no matter where I worked, I was always asking, like, hey, maybe the next time you think that I can help out with that? They're like, really? Fuck yeah, like, I want to do this one day. Like, I got to know exactly what I have to do to be able to stick that catheter into that, hard to get to, urethra, whether male or female, or how to stick the vein and not have to fish for the vein.
Yeah.
Because, and I got pretty good at it. I did. But it's fascinating. And, or doing a IV through ultrasound.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Those are cool.
Awesome.
I like watching those.
And last year we had to do one on a COVID patient that was coming off of meth.
Oh, wow.
So that was interesting.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Having to hold him down and he's still moving, and they gave him 10 milligrams of Haldol. I mean, my man was still going.
Oh, yeah.
Dang.
Meth is not a joke. Holy crap.
That's hitting a moving target to the nth degree.
Yes.
Yep. And then holding him down, and the doctor's telling you, like, here, grab this, put it in, and then I'll guide it, from here, because it's a long, pick line going in. And it's like, wow, that's awesome. I got to do that.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Aside from everything that was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. I always ask, like, hey, can I help out? Like, can I see this?
Yeah. That's what Jen's been doing when I go in for things now, because she wants to be a nurse. She's like taking more of an active participation in it instead of trying to avoid looking at it, because it used to freak her out. Now I've done so many that
she's had to get used to it. It's been a long time.
She's more interested in it, and she isn't phased.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's interesting because we have, like, I don't know, Rachel, if you could, like, if this tracks for you, but we have a more objective view of our own bodies.
Oh, we definitely
like
do.
We don't, I don't know, we don't relate to the body. The body is not us, right? The body is our, like,
it's part
evil
of you.
twin partner that we have to fight with all the time.
Yeah. It's the suit that we have to deal with, or the car that we have to drive.
Yes, absolutely.
We got stuck with. It's not us. Yes, absolutely.
We are not the body, and the body is not us. So we have a more like objective view of things, and we're happier to see like, mess with it. I don't care. You could like
experiment.
If you want to practice stitches, I've got lots of skin.
My back surgeon was caught off guard how excited I was that he was going to cut open my spine.
Yeah.
He was
They're
trying
always
to talk
like,
me into it.
You could lose your legs. And he was like, that's fine.
This could be, you could lose your legs. And I was like, let's do it. Yeah. Get it done. He's like, are you sure? Are you of sound mind? What's wrong with you?
Well, when I tell people that when I went in to see the new PT, I was explaining that I've had 2 hip surgeries within the span of 9 months. And she was like, what surgeries? Because I don't think she understood like what they did.
Right.
And I was like, well, they shaved down the socket and the ball. Then they went through, cleaned up the labrum, did a capsular tightening, and lengthened the psoas on both sides. And then she looked at me like, okay, I guess I'm going to like lean in and take you seriously now. Because holy crap, you function really well. And she was like, oh, let me see you walk. You're not limping at all. And I was like, I didn't limp to begin with for the most part anyway. But
that annoys me. I limp when my back hurts.
Yeah. Well, like, and I've seen it where people get the hip surgeries and then that same day, if not the next day when they wake up, they're like, okay, we need to get you up for walking. And they're looking at you like, the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, why?
It's a race.
Like, I'm in pain. I was like, really? We gave you hydrocodone.
My last time.
You are set, right?
My last surgery, I made it a goal to get out of there before 4 hours was up. And part of that is walking. And
I have one more question.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, go for it.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. The last time I went in to the doctors that I had to, because it had been 3 days and I knew that it was pneumonia, and I knew that I needed to go get some meds for it.
Yeah.
And I went in and I got the meds for it, and they discharged me. And yes, it was pneumonia. I knew what I was talking about and all that stuff. And then I get my records from it, and it says COVID.
What?
Patient. Except I've never tested positive for COVID. And I've had the vaccine and everything. And I went back in. I'm like, I wasn't a COVID patient. I was a pneumonia patient. I'm susceptible. My lungs are scarred. Look at my imaging. And they're like, well, it's COVID related. I'm like, no, it's not COVID related. Do you think this is going to be an issue for us going forward? Anytime we go in to get treatment for something like pneumonia or something like that, and we're going to be like, oh, it's COVID related because they're trying to boost the numbers for the funding, or I don't know.
Number one, yes, they are. Number two, it is going to cause a problem because the next time you go in, they're going to see that automatically in your record and be like, well, you've already had it. If they specifically told you that it's pneumonia due to COVID related issues, then that's a different story. If it's just pneumonia because you had pneumonia, then it needs to be addressed and and your medical record needs to be fixed, because that's falsifying information and they can't do that. And that's a major federal law that they're breaking. So if you know exactly what the doctor told you, you need to get it fixed. And if they don't want to fix it, then you need to go to the medical board and tell them, like, hey, this is not what I was told.
Yeah, you don't want that on your record.
Yeah, because if you haven't had COVID, or if you have or haven't, and you weren't there for that specific reason, and they didn't put you on a COVID ward, or they didn't put you in, any kind of thing that has to do with COVID. They didn't isolate you.
Or even test for it, for that matter.
If you've already been tested and you got it, then they can't do that. They cannot do that, and they have to change it because they are falsifying information, and that's where people are getting misunderstood.
Yeah.
Is that this whole vaccine stuff started in the hospital? My hospital was one of the ones that was one of the guinea pigs for these vaccines. Back in November, late October going into November. So we got to see them firsthand exactly what they were going to do. And you know, not to scare anybody, but people were still not coming out of it, you know, and it sucks that people are being misled to think that, you know, these things are actually like working.
Yeah.
And really they're just, out of 500,000 people that were actually tested, you know, the tons of millions of people that are getting, you know, the vaccines, and they're pushing and they're pushing and they're pushing, and now they're going to go door to door, from what I'm understanding.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You know, I get these things that are popped up from friends. They'll send it to me. Like, did you hear that they're going to do this? Like, no.
Right.
Like, you know, I'm over here doing my own thing. I'm trying to take care of two seniors that, you know, I'm trying to keep alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and make sure they don't fall. And you know, I'm over here busy with my life, you know, and they're like, yeah, dude, like, you know, read this, do this. And it's just like, yeah, like, I can't believe that people are getting misled about this whole thing.
Well, and I think it comes down again to like funding.
Yeah.
Because
and which sucks
what's
is
going to
because
corrupt everything?
they say that we don't pay
Capitalism.
for it, but we're paying for it.
Yeah.
You know, we're not, this shit isn't free.
No.
Like,
oh, no, not at all.
You know, there's, and it sucks because I don't want to get into it, but there's this agenda that, you know, we're going to go bankrupt before we can even, you know, come out of anything from here on out. Like, it's just the beginning of, you know, a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. I think, is it time to take a break?
I figured when I saw that on my statement, that because it wasn't in my record, but when I saw it on the statement, COVID-related visit, and I was like, oh, no.
That's so weird.
I thought, you know, how many of us that have like lung issues or stuff that we've had, like I've had mine since I was 2.
For years.
I've had mine for 40 years.
And then you miss
so
out
my
on...
lungs have always been susceptible to this.
Yeah. And then you miss out on like appropriate treatment.
Yep.
Because you're being like stockpiled into this category of throwaway. Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm like, oh gosh, this is going to suck for a lot of people.
Yeah. For a while, I'm sure.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think it's good time to take a break.
It is. It is break time.
Thank you, Rachel, so much for joining us, and feel free to hop back on. What do you think?
Thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely. It's been a joy.
Oh, yeah. No, it's been great to talk to someone else. It's not just us two.
Right. Fantastic. All right.
You guys have a fabulous rest of your day.
Thank you so much. And take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
There we go. All right. On that note, let's go ahead and take a break. I need to stretch.
It might just be over.
I'm uncomfortable. You want to call it?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Wow, dude, I just got here.
Just? It's been like 2 hours.
We've been at this for a while. Yeah.
I mean, you know, a little bit
We're in the groove. We can keep going.
Well, okay.
I
just don't think I have enough room.
Cut it off. That's fine. Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, then, we'll go ahead and end it for today. Thanks for coming along.
So I can do what I want.
Yes, exactly. Wish him a happy birthday.
Do it.
Happy birthday.
Now. We're gonna sing now. So
No,
you better run.
No, that's podcast over. We're done.
Happy.
I will fucking kill you.
Bye, everybody.